South Korea wants to talk to North Korea about resuming operations at the Kaesong industrial complex. Work at the shared manufacturing zone was suspended earlier this month when tensions escalated. A spokesman for South Korea's unification ministry says the offer is good for 24 hours.
The government of South Korea officially proposed to hold working-level talks between the authorities of the South and the North to resolve humanitarian issues affecting Kaesong workers and to normalize the Kaesong industrial zone. If North Korea rejects our proposal for talks, we cannot help but to take severe measures.
Well, Anna Corrin joins us live from Seoul with more. So, Anna, at this point, where do we stand with this offer from South Korea to reach out to North Korea for these talks?
Well, Rosemary, no answer, no response from North Korea just yet. But as you say, that offer was made early this morning by the South Korean Unification Ministry. They obviously want to resume some sort of working level talks so that they can start up the Kaesong industrial zone. But as you say, they've got 24 hours to get back to Seoul. And so far, as I mentioned, no word. The spokesman said that if there is no response, or if the response back is a negative one, then South Korea will have no choice but to take severe measures. Now, we've spoken to some analysts this morning, and they believe that this insinuates that South Korea would be willing to close down the industrial zone altogether. As you mentioned, it was suspended back in April, beginning of this month, 8th of April, and there was hopes that obviously it would resume working again, but that hasn't taken place. So it's certainly not what South Korea wants to do, but by this statement, Rosemary, it's willing to do that.
And what impact has its suspension had so far on workers from South Korea?
Well, look, there are about 123 South Korean companies that operate the Kaesong industrial zone and employs 53,000 North Korean workers, providing, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars for the North Korean economy. I mean, this is hard currency in what is pretty much a cash-strapped economy. But as far as hurting South Korea, it really won't make much of a dent. You know, South Korea is an economic powerhouse. It's the 15th largest economy in the world. So it's not going to necessarily hurt South Korea. It will hurt North Korea because it does rely on those jobs. It does rely on that currency. But at the same time, Rosemary, it's important to note that North Korea is also diversifying its businesses. It's really picked up its trade with China. That is really now its lifeline. And it's also, you know, developing its nuclear technology, which it's selling. And there's also reports of its illegal goods. So it really is branching out. It's not relying necessarily or solely on that trade with South Korea any longer. But, you know, I think what Kaesong Industrial Zone represents is a political link between the two countries. You know, this is what is so vital. So if it is cut, if it is shut down, that will no longer be. There will be no communication, no tie between the two countries.
Right. And just finally, I want to get an idea of the mood there in the South, of course, as the North marks the anniversary of the founding of the Korean People's Army. Is there any concern there that the North might use this date to test fire a missile?
Well, just to give you an idea as to the headlines in South Korea today, people are interested in Psy, the South Korean pop sensation, his US tour, and also local elections that were held here yesterday. So that's the big news in South Korea. It's not to be dismissive of what is going, you know, on to the north of South Korea, but, you know, the government takes it very seriously. The military is taking it very seriously. Obviously, those joint military operations between the US and South Korea are still going on. They wrap up at the end of the month. And according to US intelligence, those 2 missile launches that are positioned on the east coast of North Korea, they are still there. They are still fueled up. They are still ready to go. But, Rosemary, we certainly get a feeling that this is much more about Kim Jong-un, North Korea's leader, posturing to his own people, showing that he is in control than anything else.